Imagine waking up tomorrow, and fabric never existed in human history. No shirts, no jeans, no uniforms, no blankets at all. Humans survived thousands of years partly because of clothing invention. Without fabric, civilization may have evolved completely differently throughout history. Many places on Earth would become nearly impossible to survive. Clothing is not just fashion, it's survival technology for humans. And without it, humanity would face brutal environmental conditions daily.
Where do these
Entire
clothes come
industries,
from?
cultures,
Factories
and
like this?
identities would never
We need to
exist
know
at
more.
all. So, what would Earth actually look like without fabric invention entirely? The answer is far stranger and harsher than most imagine today. Humans first invented clothing mainly to survive harsh environments safely. Without proper coverings, freezing regions become extremely deadly for humans. Cold weather would kill far more people throughout human history regularly. Deserts would become equally dangerous under intense sunlight and heat conditions. Human skin alone cannot handle extreme climates for long periods safely. Many humans might remain near warm, tropical environments permanently instead. Large parts of Europe, Russia, and Canada may stay nearly empty. Human migration across colder regions would become much slower and harder. Entire civilizations may never rise in harsh environmental conditions worldwide. Even basic daily survival would require much greater constant effort. People may rely mostly on animal skins and leaves for protection. But those materials are heavier and far less comfortable daily. They also decay quickly and provide weaker environmental protection overall. Human health problems from weather exposure would increase dramatically worldwide, and average human lifespan may remain much shorter throughout history overall. Fabric changed civilization far beyond simply covering the human body safely. Entire industries today depend completely on textile and fabric production worldwide. Fashion, uniforms, carpets, curtains, and bags would never exist today. Even sails for ships originally depended heavily on fabric materials completely. Global exploration may have progressed much slower without effective sailing technology. Armies throughout history relied heavily on protective clothing and uniforms daily. Medical systems also depend deeply on sterile fabric products and supplies. Modern sports would barely resemble anything we recognize today anymore. Even beds, pillows, and blankets would become completely different worldwide instead. Many jobs today could become physically impossible without protective work clothing. Human identity and culture are also strongly connected with clothing styles. Traditional clothing tells stories about entire civilizations and communities worldwide. Without fabric, cultural expression may become much more limited everywhere globally. Clothing also signals status, profession, religion, and social identity publicly. Without those symbols, societies may function very differently than modern civilization. Textile industries today employ hundreds of millions across the entire planet. Without fabric, entire economies and trade systems disappear completely worldwide. Some cities became wealthy, mainly because of textile trade and production. Fabric quietly shaped economies, exploration, survival, and civilization throughout human history. And most people never realize how important that invention truly became. Human civilization depends heavily on inventions people rarely appreciate enough daily. Simple inventions often quietly shape the entire future of humanity forever. Fabric may seem ordinary today, but it transformed human survival completely. It allowed humans to spread across nearly every environment on Earth. It protected people from weather, injuries, and dangerous environmental conditions constantly. It helped humans build cultures, professions, and recognizable social identities globally. It powered industries supporting millions of families around the world today, and it silently changed how civilization itself evolved over thousands of years. Without fabric, modern humanity might still appear surprisingly primitive today overall. Many inventions humanity depends on began from surprisingly small, simple ideas, and fabric became one of humanity's most important hidden technologies ever. The smallest inventions often create the largest long-term consequences for civilization. Humans rarely notice systems quietly supporting daily life constantly around them. But remove one important invention, and everything changes dramatically, almost immediately. Civilization is actually far more fragile than most people realize today, and history could have evolved in countless completely different directions instead. The world we know depended on delicate innovations throughout human history. Even ordinary objects can completely transform humanity's future over long periods. Invisible foundations supporting modern human life silently. Without it, humanity's story may look almost unrecognizable compared to today. Sometimes humanity's greatest inventions are the ones people ignore most daily. because civilization quietly depends on countless invisible systems working together constantly, and fabric became one of those systems shaping human civilization silently forever. The modern world exists partly because humans learned creating fabric successfully. If this changed your perspective, follow for more meaningful realities.